Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast. This podcast is ran by two ladies who play games, shout profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Wheel of Crime podcast. My name is Jenn.
My name is Emily. Yes, welcome back everybody. We have made the journey here together in this audio space to all figuratively join hands once again.
Yes, come with us,
very poetic.
Children of crime.
The radio. Children of crime. My criminal children. Oh, well, Jen, what have you been up to this last week that you would like to share with our listeners here today? How have things been?
I've been dying. Pretty sure I got COVID, and man, that sickness does not fuck around. It was like, I actually rather be dead. Did that even make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, COVID really has a... No, COVID has a really fine way of making you its bitch pretty quickly. So that's fun. Well, it's not fun, but I guess that's life at this point.
It's true. I'm like, why? Why? I don't want to do this anymore.
Why must I exist in suffering? Oh, man. Well, I wish I had something fun and interesting to share, but honestly, this last week has just been a lot of work because that's my day job. Keeps me busy. But I did learn to drive with a trailer for the first time today. That was a journey. And besides that, what have I been doing in my spare time? Honestly, just like trying to read, failing to read, trying to play video games, failing to play video games. And I've been doing a little bit of mucking around on ChatGPT to see what it can do for me. And that's been pretty much my week.
Mucking around. Hell yeah.
In the trenches of ChatGPT.
Well, we should get right into our wheel of questions.
You betcha. What is the worst sound to hear in the woods?
I would like any sound.
Anything that doesn't belong in the woods or sounds too much like it belongs in the woods.
Or like a whistle. I feel I would actually...
Yeah, that I think that falls into the category of sounds a little too much like it belongs in the woods. Mostly because that's also a windy boy thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying. I don't know. I feel like I don't want to hear the sound of a cougar. I don't want to hear the sound of a bear. I don't want to hear the sound of a man.
No.
I don't want to hear the sound of a power saw. I don't want to hear the sound of...
Any power tools, just throw them all
away.
There's
lots of things, actually. Yeah, not even a drill. I want to hear nothing. If I'm in the woods alone, I want to hear none of those things.
I just want to hear birds. That's all I want to hear.
Literally, that is it. Beyond the chirping of birds and the bubbling of a little creek, I want nothing else.
Maybe some trees rustling, that's about it.
Just not even a bunch of wind, though. Just a little wind as a treat.
But I also don't want to hear anything because that is also spooky.
Well, hearing nothing's a warning sign, hey? Like, if you're in the woods and you hear nothing, that means that there's a predator in the area, like a natural predator, because not even the birds want whatever it is to know that they're there.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want that.
No. No. Not for me either. Glad we're on the same page. Oh, all right. Let's spin for our next question.
Okay.
What is the scariest flying creature?
A cockroach? Like, that would terrify me.
I had so many things running through my head. For some reason, completely forgot about cockroaches. Because I was like, I like all birds, I think. There isn't, like, a bird that I think is particularly scary. I like bats. I don't think there's anything particularly scary about bats. Maybe your dog flying through the air. I would be scared if Dewey flew through the air and lunged at me. Actually, now that I think about it. But, like, no, I feel like you're on the right path with cockroaches. Any flying bugs, I think. It's like, no, you eat grass and other bugs, you should stay on the ground. Definitely far, far away from me.
Those dumping spiders?
Oh, yikes.
Chills.
Yeah, nothing. No, thank you. Those giant grasshoppers, I think they're because at a certain point they're not grasshoppers, right? They're
Ugh.
locusts. Big old locusts, like flying right at you.
Gross. That's sick.
Yuck. Yeah, let's just say flying bugs then, because I feel like that's pretty much it for flying creatures. I mean, I like flying fish, but I don't think they're that scary.
Fly right into my mouth.
Yeah. Oh, I'm ready. Could you imagine flying sushi rolls?
That'd be the best day
That'd be
ever.
so good. No, sushi rolls made from flying fish that still embody flying. Now here, we're on to something.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, let's spin for our next question. What's your least favorite kind of horror movie?
I'm really mid one.
Like, not very creative, not very scary.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's fair. Least favorite kind of horror movies. I feel like, honestly, like, I'm not a big horror movie person, as we talked about on the podcast previously. But I feel like if I am watching something that is kind of like either a thriller or like horror-ish, then I feel like sometimes they rely too much on like gore or like on jump scares. I feel like that's not true to like what horror should be. Horror should be something that genuinely scares you. And how are you going to tell me that you're going to scare me with something that has like a bad story? Oh no, this guy goes around town and he chops off your hands. That's all he does though. There's nothing motivating him to do it. He just does it. And I'm like, uh-huh, cool, okay.
But a really good one will scare you.
And that's what I mean. Like, it should leave you like if genuinely the point of watching a horror movie is to scare you, it should leave you feeling the movie like a little bit unsettled or a little bit rattled, or like you were like, oh, I never realized that was scary. Like, it should challenge you in those kinds of ways. If you're just leaving it and you're like, oh my god, the experience was so scary, but that was only because some guy with no hands was jumping out at you a bunch of times going, rah, rah. And there was just a lot of blood. It's like, okay, that's scary for what, 5 minutes? And then that's it. And then everybody dies and the guy with no hands goes, ah, and the movie ends and you're like, okay, that was so scary.
I mean, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Maybe for children, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like the horror audience is an audience that like knows what they like. So I feel like it's just so easy to spot a dud.
All right, let's spin for our last question. What's your favorite thing about New Jersey?
How close it is to New York.
I had a feeling you'd say something like that. You have your preferences.
It was fine.
I'm shocked that you didn't say, like, Jersey Shore or something either.
What?
Like the show, Jersey Shore. Like, how it was all, like, drama and stuff. I feel like you watched it when we were back in, like, middle school, right?
I never watched it.
What? That feels like it's right up your alley. Like, a little bit of, like, a sassy little drama show. Because you loved watching the Kardashians back when they were
I know.
out.
For some reason, I just never watched Jersey Shore. I feel like it was so overhyped.
That you, like, naturally kind of avoided it?
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. Because I've never really watched it either, but I feel like my reasons are a little bit more obvious as, like, a secluded Catholic growing up. So, my reasons are slightly different. But it seems to be, like, dramatic and funny enough where, I don't know. But honestly, though, when I think about Jersey, I think about either that or I think about that one medium from New Jersey. Long Island. Is that New Jersey? Long Island? Yeah? So the Long Island medium, I also think about her. And then I think about... That's it. That's all I think about. The trashy TV programs were excellent out of New Jersey.
That is true.
That's my favorite thing.
I like everyone shits on New Jersey. I think that's kind of fun.
True that. True that. All right, can you take a guess today what my story for you is?
A flying cryptid who lives in the forest of New Jersey.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh my god, you got it. Mostly because I think that I already spoiled it for you when we recorded previously, because I was trying so hard to figure out if I covered this cryptid already. And I could not find it anywhere in my notes. I searched more after you and I talked, and apparently I have never covered this in the in any of my episodes for you. So we're going to talk about it today.
That's like unbelievable. I can't even remember what it was anymore, but I remember being like, of course you talked about that.
No, I talked about something very similar. So, or I've talked about the one other time it came up was in a different story about a different cryptid because they are often confused with each other.
That makes sense.
So, right? Well, if our listeners who are listening, that's your guys' job. If I've already covered this story, you'll have to write in and let me know because that means something's gone.
Tell us which episode.
Yeah, and that means something's gone horribly wrong with how I'm tracking my episodes. And I can't find this. So, well, I'm going to get into my description for you, and then you can tell me what you know about this particular cryptid. In South Jersey and Philadelphia folklore in the United States, the Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, is a legendary creature said to inhabit the forests of the Pine Barrens of South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that of a bipedal kangaroo-like or wyvern-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat wings, horns, and small arms with clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and forked or pointed tail. It is also said to have a strange elongated body and a thick tail, and it has been reported to move quickly, as is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream.
Same.
I do that too, but whatever, I guess he can have this. Now, have you heard of the Jersey Devil before?
I swear we've talked about it.
Probably. I feel like also, I could be wrong on this, I think it might have come up in an episode of Supernatural.
Yes.
See? How did I know that?
You're a genius.
Oh, thank you. It's about time somebody noticed. But but I will tell you the story then about the lore of the Jersey Devil.
All right, well, take it away, Em.
All right. So, first of all, I'm just going to preface, this is taken from an online blog from somebody who lives in New Jersey. The blog is called Jersey Shore Online, and this article was written by Stephanie A. Fognan. She did a really good job taking, like, what the lore was originally versus what it is now. And as somebody who lives in Jersey, has a little bit more of, like, on-the-scene knowledge about this stuff, so I felt it was fair and more accurate to kind of go with her article and her information. So if you guys like today's episode, make sure to go online and, you know, give her a thumbs up on her own article, because she really slayed it. She slayed it away.
She slayed that devil.
She did. So, with that, let's get into the story today. So, accounts of sightings of the real Jersey Devil have persisted for well over 2 centuries. The allure of capturing the elusive creature has even led to rewards being offered, and at one point claims that it was caught and on public display. According to popular folklore regarding the Jersey Devil, the story begins with Mother Leeds, a woman who lived in a part of Galway outside of Smithville. She became quite upset after she learned she was pregnant for the 13th time, which honestly...
Holy shit.
I can't even blame her. Like, if if I'm to put my own brain in the body of a woman who had 12 children and just learned she's having a 13th one, I'd lose my goddamn mind. Furious. I would be furious.
Would be mad about having, like, one child, so...
12 children? Right? So, very valid. I feel like she's allowed to have this. And then, on a stormy night in 1735, Mother Leeds was surrounded by her concerned friends as she entered labor. So then, this is... So this next part is an excerpt from a presentation, so I'm just going to get into that part. So, during a 2014 presentation given to Colonel Richard Somner's chapter, New Jersey Society, Sons of the American Revolution, Kean University, Dr. Brian Regal provided more details associated with this legend. So this is just a caveat for the next part of the story. This is where we get this information, is from this presentation from 2014. So,
okay.
She entered into labor. Then it was a difficult birth, and she screamed out, "Let this one be the devil," said Regal. Rather than a normal baby coming out, a kind of horse-like thing with wings came out. It yelped at the astonishing family, flew up the chimney, and disappeared off into the Pine Barrens.
Ideal.
For having a 13th child, yeah, you don't even have to take care of that one. It took care of itself. Barely got a hello in there.
Perfect scenario.
Right? It then spends the next several centuries accosting anybody unfortunate enough to encounter it, Regal continued. A visit to Leeds Point confirms that a Leeds family were prominent members of the local area. However, the road leading to their home is now private property. Others have reported that the Leeds house itself burned to the ground in 1952 and only the foundation still exists. Kenneth Suoy Sr., who has worked as Galway's town historian, said his wife is a Leeds, which further prompted his interest in the story of the Jersey Devil. He opinioned that a child born with deformities may have started the captivating legend. The child maybe occasionally got loose and ran through the yard, said Suoy, and there was no television or no radio. People would just be sitting in the yard at dusk because it would be a hot night, and then something goes scurrying through the bush, and they might think it's anything. Which I'm just going to say, I think it's hysterical. Not that there's a child with a deformity running around, but that the like conclusion here is that they just let this child loose through the woods at dusk, and the neighbors were like, "There's a creature in the woods." Like, somehow I don't think that's it, but I could be wrong, I guess.
We've been wrong before, so who's to say?
We've been wrong before, right? So Suoy says that he believes that the folktale was actually attributed to Japhet and Deborah Leeds. Deborah.
I was gonna say. Oh my god.
And only because they had 12 children. Stop. Reading's hard sometimes. You leave me and Deborah alone. But this is only because they had 12 children. However, the dates don't work out according to Soy. The couple were also highly regarded in the community, involved in the church, and did not participate in witchcraft. Which I love how they're like, they're like, these neighbors, they did. They participated in witchcraft. But them? Nah. We've looked into it. They did not.
It's one of the cards from them. They didn't have a kitchen.
No, they did not have a kitchen witch. So then let's take a look at the historical perspective of the Jersey Devil. So, Regal suggested that the legend of Mother Leeds giving birth to the Jersey Devil may have a little to do with the Galway area itself. His feelings are the story's roots come from religious political clashes in colonial Burlington County. These disputes involved early New Jersey politicians, including Benjamin Franklin and Daniel Leeds, a prominent figure of the time who was ostracized by the Quaker community for publishing almanacs containing astrological symbols and writings.
Yeah, very.
Interesting, right? Then Regal pointed out the picture in the opening pages of his second phase almanac displaying a dragon-like figure that may have led to the beginning of the Jersey Devil legendary creation. Not only did the Quakers order the removal of Leeds' almanac, but they also demanded that copies of his subsequent work, The Temple of Wisdom, be destroyed. Only one copy of the book exists in the United States, and it is a part of the Pennsylvania Historical Society's collection. Leeds is on the receiving end of the first major political censorship campaign in America, said Regal. This just devastates him because he joined the Society of Friends because he felt that these people loved him and just embraced him, and he felt the same way that he did. So, basically, to round up what he just said, he's thinking that the creation of the Jersey Devil and the fear surrounding it may actually be like a political media campaign against this guy, but also that politics in general back then were ran differently and were more like societies of knowledge, I guess, to some degree. So him wanting to be a politician for the New Jersey area, to him at the time would have meant more so being in a group of like-minded individuals. And if this was the first kind of like political media, sort of thing, then he wouldn't have necessarily known what to even do with this, because in his mind, he's just a guy who joined a society of people who think like him, and he's publishing these books because these are things that he knows, just to have those people then turn around and be like, well, it betters us if people think that you're a fool, or that you are, or that your wife gave birth to the devil, or whatever the fuck, right? So then the disputes between Leeds and the Quaker community intensified. Leeds decided to write anti-Quaker pamphlets, leading to his dismissal and public condemnation by the local South Jersey Quaker community. In retaliation, a Quaker named Caleb Pusey.
That
Yes.
it's like the Quaker family, as in like Quaker oats.
I was wondering that too, and I was going to do some research into it and then did not have any time to do that. But I have my suspicions. I think so, or at least that the Quaker Oats was inspired from the Quaker community.
It started in Ohio in 1877.
Well, I guess not then. Just a weird coincidence.
Exactly.
So then, in retaliation, a Quaker named Caleb Pusey published a book called Satan's Harbinger Encountered, suggesting Leeds penned his works on behalf of the devil. Leeds' son, Titan, ultimately inherited the almanac business, and Benjamin Franklin went up against Titan when he published his own almanac, calling it Poor Richard's. According to Regal's research, Franklin decided to fight his competition by saying Poor Richard had consulted the stars and predicted Titan's death. Titan Leeds allegedly became very insulted and accused Franklin of being a fool and a liar. Franklin's response may have also contributed to the origin of the Leeds Devil and subsequently that of the Jersey Devil, and the two may be related but are not necessarily the same. So this kind of loops back to what we were saying before, where the Jersey Devil, for the time period that it was introduced, was very likely the beginnings of like political standoffs between people.
Right.
So then, to reply to these accusations, Franklin called Titan his friend and then said he would never say such horrible things about him.
A liar.
Regal called the ruse essentially a smear campaign, which I feel like is valid at this point. This must be the ghost of Titan Leeds, Franklin reportedly said. If you see Titan Leeds, then that must mean that the ghost of Titan Leeds has come back to life as a sorcerer.
Oh, wow.
Which I find so bonkers, because Ben Franklin is literally like, oh, this guy, I would never say those horrible things about him. We're best friends. And this guy's like, why are you running a smear campaign? And then he's like, actually, I forgot, you're dead. And also... he's like, actually, I forgot, you're dead. Also, if anybody sees you, it's actually because a sorcerer brought you back to life. So, furthering meaning that the devil works for you.
Wait, did you see someone Benjamin Franklin?
Yes, this is the Benjamin Franklin.
The Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, this isn't just a Benjamin Franklin. This is the Benjamin Franklin.
Oh my god.
He's like, no, we're best friends, but also if you see him, that he died, actually, and that's a sorcerer that brought him back, so he's definitely working with the devil. So then, in the winter of 1905, Regal said peculiar footprints appeared in the snow scattered across the Pine Barrens, with an intriguing connection made by the locals. These mysterious markings prompted memories of the notorious Leeds Devil, and marked the inception of what would become the compelling tale of the Jersey Devil. Regal explained that proprietors of a Philadelphia dime museum recognized the public's intrigue surrounding the elusive creature and sought to capitalize on it. Their ingenious plan involved painting a kangaroo green, affixing wings to it, and promoting it as part of their freak show. In a bid to enhance the exhibit's allure, they cleverly chose the name the Jersey Devil, believing it would generate more interest than the moniker the Leeds Devil. Which I'm like, okay, so on one hand...
Marking kings.
Yeah, like on one hand you have Benjamin Franklin accusing a man of being dead, and then you have people who run a dime museum, which is crazy to me already, in the year of whatever, 1800 something, I think. Wait. No, 1905. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to paint a kangaroo green, put wings on him, and that's the Jersey Devil.
I can't believe the Benjamin Franklin was involved in all this.
The one and only Mr. Benny Boy Franklin.
And he got to witness a kangaroo in wings. Like, wow. What an icon.
He just, he had other things going on. He's like, I'm on money.
I accuse people of being dead.
He's on kites. And also, I accuse people of being dead. And I've seen a green kangaroo with wings. So.
What a life, truly.
What a life. Now let's get into Jersey Devil sightings.
Okay.
Right? Despite historical theories that challenge the existence of a supernatural being like the Jersey Devil, adamant believers persist in their claims of first-hand encounters. The legend of the Jersey Devil has become integral to New Jersey's identity, with countless sightings and eerie encounters etching themselves into the fabric of local folklore. Many maintain that the elusive creature continues to wander through the vast expanse of the Pine Barrens. 2 years ago, now to be fair, this article's from 2014, so this would have been 2012. So a lady named Susan Wolf, a senior citizen from Whiting, confirmed that she came face to face with the Jersey Devil. The incident occurred as Wolf returned home after visiting her boyfriend at
Deborah's house.
Hospital. No, Deborah Hospital.
I like Deborah Hospital better.
It's interesting. We have multiple. Fine. It's today. We're Canadian. We don't have to say anything, right? That's Deborah Hospital.
Perfect.
She says, "It was 10 o'clock in the evening, and I was on Lakehurst Road," Wolf said. "There was a lot of mist in the air as I neared Whiting's Bogs. According to Wolf, she was traveling in the right-hand lane when the Jersey Devil came out from some trees on the left. He came within 20 feet of her windshield. He looked at me in the eye like he knew what eye contact was," shared Wolf. "He was about 4 or 5 feet tall and was flying with long bat wings that fluctuated very slowly, and his nose looked like a giant moose nose."
That's crazy.
At that point, I'd be like, was that not a moose? Because it's like, it has these giant wings and a moose nose. I'd be like, not saying that she didn't see the Jersey Devil, but I'm thinking
Deborah
about
saw.
antlers. No, this
No,
Susan.
Deborah.
Susan Wolf. She came from Deborah's hospital.
She is Deborah to me.
But my thing is that do moose antlers not look like giant bat wings to a certain degree?
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Right? So I'm just curious. I'm not saying it wasn't the Jersey Devil. I'm just saying
Maybe it was
could
a
be
moose.
coincidence.
A moose.
It could be moose. And then Wolf emphasized that she's not the type of person to believe in conspiracy theories or anything outside the norm, although the brief encounter frightened her, and Wolf did not report anything to the authorities.
She didn't report the moose to Deborah?
She did not report the thing that was probably a moose, but she thought was the Jersey Devil to anybody. She just kept that one in her pocket.
But she should have reported the moose to Deborah. That would have been the right thing to do.
Yeah, the hospital of Deborah.
No, Deborah herself.
Oh, yes, of course. Who's probably, I think, long dead by this point. The grave of Deborah.
It doesn't matter. Are you accusing her of being dead?
Oh, sorry, that would make me a sorcerer if I did that, so.
Exactly.
Benjamin Franklin's gonna put me in jail
He
if I
will.
say that, so I can't.
He will.
Oh my gosh. So then, over the years, others have claimed to have met up with the Jersey Devil and were startled by its piercing screams. Even before the appearance of unusual footprints in 1905, there were tales that Napoleon Bonaparte's brother came into contact with the Jersey Devil on his Bordentown estate. So then, another website called Weird New Jersey has a collection of Jersey Devil stories, which includes one related to Sonny D, Sonny, not Sunny D.
Mr. Sunny D himself?
I know. I saw the look in your eyes. I was like, I know, this whole thing is just bonkers. We've got actual Ben Franklin. We've got actual Sunny D.
We've got Quaker Oats.
We've got Quaker Oats.
We've got Deborah.
We've got a balanced breakfast and electricity, guys.
And Susan.
And Susan. So then, one related to Sunny D, who he said he was at a drive-up in Bayville when an immense figure caught Sunny's attention. I know, I'm sorry. Sprinting across Route 9. It resembled the iconic portrayals of the Jersey Devil.
Resembled the juice?
Yeah, the juice. He was here. Yeah. They didn't say he was orange, but I feel like we can confidently say that he was. It resembled the iconic portrayals of the Jersey Devil, a tailless, furless creature with visible ribs and an elongated head with short, flattened ears, and its towering stature almost reached 10 feet. Which I feel like is already very different than what Susan was saying, because she's like, no, 5 feet and had these just giant bat wings. And then Sunny D is like, nope, he's a giant, not furry creature with a giant head and flat ears, and he's 10 feet tall. I feel like that's a little different.
It's kind of giving bald moose, though.
It is a little bit giving bald moose, or moose without antlers. Meanwhile, located just a few miles away from the alleged legendary birthplace of the Jersey Devil, J.D.'s Pub and Grill proudly pays homage to its namesake. Staff members interviewed at the establishment were unable to pass on accounts of close encounters with the Jersey Devil, providing no recent sightings or experiences to fuel this legend. Nevertheless, patrons Jim and Barb Ryan have embraced the local folklore wholeheartedly. Their admiration for the Jersey Devil is evident as they adorned the rooftop of their home's tiki bar with a captivating neon representation of the creature. And as the belief of the Jersey Devil persists and the fascination continues to grow, the search for answers intensifies, whether through books, the dedication of paranormal enthusiasts, or the spotlight of television shows, and the legend of the Jersey Devil remains firmly embedded in its local folklore. An enduring interest in the mystical creatures even led to the formation of dedicated groups determined to search out and uncover the truth behind the myth. And then this is a quote from our lady who wrote this article, named Stephanie. And she says, I can summarize this whole Jersey Devil story with one sentence. It's not about a monster, it's about the history of human hatred and fear.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum. And that is my story of the Jersey Devil for you.
Wow.
Yep.
I can't believe Deborah did that to us.
She's been a busy lady. I'll tell you that much.
Oh man. So are you a believer in the Jersey Devil, or what's the situation?
I don't know. When I was looking up different accounts before I landed on this article from Stephanie, who's from Jersey, which I felt more concise, but there's actually a lot of stories of people saying that they've seen the Jersey Devil. They more or less all kind of sound the same, where it's like bat wings and big head, and he's somewhere between 5 and 10 feet tall, and all these different things. But I will say the descriptions do all kind of weirdly sound like moose. So I have a hard time believing. Here's the thing. I have a hard time believing a lot of things that I cover on this podcast. But with this one specifically, it has big moose energy. And I feel like I personally don't feel like the Jersey Devil is like a quote-unquote real cryptid. I feel like people have talked about it a lot, and it's been sensationalized a lot, kind of like the Mothman and some of these other cryptids. But I don't know. I personally think, from what I've read, that he is more likely than not a moose and a result of people, like a local folklore thing. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
the devil was here, and now we have moose that look like devils. I don't know. I'm gonna sit on that. I don't think the Jersey Devil's real.
So apparently, I just looked this up. It says moose are not a common sight in New Jersey. There have been documented things and occasional occurrences, particularly in the northern part of the state near Delaware Water Gap. Moose population historically extended further south, or driven out by clearing and hunting. So maybe because they're not like super common, that people don't really recognize them.
Right? Like, that would make sense, especially if they originally did live there and then they were driven out. Like, who's to say they don't come back sometimes?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like that makes sense.
The Jersey Devil's a moose. Case solved, guys.
Case closed. Yeah, well, what about you? What are you feeling about the Jersey Devil? Are you kind of on the same page that I am?
Yeah, me and think it's a moose.
Yeah, good old Deborah. We love her. She's an icon.
Susan doesn't know it
Legend,
yet, but
Susan,
she
that's
believes
true.
the moose too.
Yes. All right, well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. A little bit short and sweet compared to normal, but that's totally fine. And I guess we'll go from there. So if you like today's episode, make sure to leave us a review on wherever you're listening to our podcast. 5 stars, as always, is appreciated, but you do you, Pookies. And we also have our social media, which is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Wheel of Crime if you want to check us out on there. We have our email, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com. If you want to send us an email in, say you've seen the Jersey Devil, or you have your own Jersey Devil story, you can ask us about it. Or maybe you're like, yeah, your guys' podcast needs an upgrade. I am open to constructive criticism. I don't know about Jen, but you can still email in and tell us about it.
I'll be highly offended. I can email Emily.
Okay. Yeah, email me through the same thing, so we both have to read it. But then we also have our Patreon, which is Wheel of Crime at Patreon, if you would like to donate to the show. We have our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com, if you would like to check us out on there. And lastly, we do have our listener story submission form open on all of our social media still. So, like I just said, in regards to our email, if you have a story of the Jersey Devil, if you are the Jersey Devil, if you've never seen a moose before, but you kind of think it might be you have now, and think it might kind of be the Jersey Devil, you could tell us about it in a listener story, and you might get your chance to be featured on the show. We do them now throughout the year for special occasions and to mark off the start of the summer and some other things here. So if you would like to, like I said, get your feature, make sure to write in and get your story submitted.
Yeah, that's it. That's all, and we'll see you for another new episode. Okay, bye.
Bye.